So good morning. You are attending the Animal Matters Commission hearings for June 3rd, 2024. The Animal Matters Commission was established and is conducted in accordance with Article 12 of the Anne Arundel County Code. These are administrative hearings, and by nature they are informal, which means you are not hampered by rules of evidence. However, please be aware that you are still testifying under oath. Each party will have their opportunity to state their case. After each party states their case, they will have an opportunity to ask questions of the other party. Please do not interrupt the other party. You will be given ample time to talk. In many cases, we are aware that there is a history. You may briefly tell the commission about the history. However, please focus on the issue at hand. After each case, the commission will have open deliberations. During these deliberations, the public may not participate. If the commissioners have an additional question, you may answer the question. No further information will be heard and a decision will be rendered. This decision is a recommendation to the chief of police or their representative. The recommendation of the commission will be taken into consideration and a final decision will be made by the chief of police or their designated representative. If, as the defendant in the case, you are unhappy with the decision of the commission, you may appeal. For citation cases, appeals are made through the District Court of Maryland. And for administrative orders, potentially dangerous, and vicious orders, appeals are made through the County Board of Appeals. I like what Ed's been adding to this over the last few weeks is, we want to keep things civil. You guys are, people are here today for different reasons. We want to stick to the point of why we're here, and we'll help guide you through that. But let's keep things civil. We're not going to tolerate any unruly kind of behavior. So with that being said, please call the first case.
If you are participating in the Keith versus Idaho case, please raise your hand.
Video turned on? None of us can turn our videos on.
Yeah, it's saying that none of us are allowed to turn videos. We should be able to turn our cameras on.
Give me 1 second.
It says that the host has our video turned off.
Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Of course, I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm still getting the same error message. FYI about that.
Yeah, I try it now, sir. I had to change some settings individually. I apologize. Boom.
Thank you.
I'm still getting that message.
You try now.
Yes, thank you. Now let me see if I can get me in the picture.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Now we can see everyone's beautifully smiling faces for the month of June. All right, so if we're ready, we can go ahead and call the first case.
All right, as I change you to panelist, please hit accept. Go. Or don't. Mr. Idaho, if you could please accept the invitation to panelists. Go. Try again. There we go. If you guys are unable to turn your cameras on and unmute yourselves. To unmute. Ms. Keith, are you able to turn your camera on?
Doesn't it just automatically come?
No, you have to hit there's a little like video icon next to the mic.
At the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect. All right.
Can anyone see you?
I have to, if you could turn your camera on, sir, that would be great. Because I have to swear both of you in and I need to be able to see you.
All right, I'm trying to. How do you turn it on again?
If you look in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, there should be a mic and then right next to it, a video icon. If you hit the video icon,
Okay.
and then on your computer at the very top in the middle, directly above the camera, is there an option for you to slide something back and forth that might be blocking your camera?
Mm, oh, shoot. No. I hit the video. I don't see any other thing to slide.
Yeah, no, it just looks like something's blocking your camera. So you've turned your camera on. It's just something like, it's just like this. If you look at mine, it closes off. But then when I switch it back, you can see me.
Here, I tell you what, I'm gonna try to I should have attempted to do this on my phone. Usually I have better luck with it on my phone. Hold on 1 second.
Is it yet? Tom, are you okay with moving forward if he can't get his camera on? I know in the past we've made some exceptions, but
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's possible someone doesn't have a camera. So I guess if this is the way we're doing things, we should try to move forward.
okay. So, all right, Mr. Adelaide, even though I can't see you, just make sure you are raising your right hand.
He did. He said he's going to try to connect through his
Okay.
phone. I don't know. Is that if that's the case, we can try to do that. If not, we can move forward. I'm fine either way. I know, like even my PC at work doesn't have a camera on it. My laptop does, but the one on my desk does not. So, it's possible that's the case for his computer.
Okay.
It looks like we have two of him here now, so maybe the other one we can get a camera on.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. If you guys can still hear me, I'm trying to do that on my phone now as we speak.
Gotcha.
Let's see here. Join audio. More. Oh my God. Camera. Okay. Can you guys see me?
Yes.
Okay. I kind of have both on, so I guess that's not messing anything up.
All right, there we go. All right, so if you guys could both at the same time, raise your right hand. All right. All right. Do you declare and affirm under penalties and perjury the testimony you are about to give us is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes. Yes.
All right, and then starting with Ms. Keith, if you could just state your name and address for the record.
Andrea Keith, 8641 Holton Harbor, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
And then Mr. Idlehite, you state your name and address for the record.
Adam Edelheit, 8639 Holton Harbor, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
Perfect, thank you. I'm gonna hand things over to you, Tom.
All right, thank you. So in this case, it looks like Mr. Adelheit, you are the complainant, so I'm going to let you go ahead and start. We are here for 3 separate citations: animal excreta, public nuisance, and animal disturbance. So again, if we can try to stick to those 3 things as best as possible, you can give us a little background, and go ahead and take the floor, sir.
All right. First off, I'll just start off by saying good morning, everybody. Thank you for your time. Also, pertaining to you setting the stage, I think it's interesting you recognize that in probably more than all cases, there's a history between probably the defendant and the complainant. But regardless, for the matters at hand, I don't think there's any real secret that my neighbor and I unfortunately can't see eye to eye or have some sort of communication to have these matters resolved without involving another party. So again, like you stated, just keeping the matter specifically at hand, I will recognize the fact that there is some history between us, but pertaining to specifically why we're here today, is there any particular one of the 3 you want me to start off with, or just go in any order?
No, sir. If you can explain, why basically, what's come to the situation where you brought these citations on, and just, you can go through. It doesn't really matter which order. You just explain the situation, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so basically the gist of it is I've been dealing with my neighbor, unfortunately, since July of 2022, pertaining to her deck and her animal and her dog feces. I did contact the animal environmental control agency department in Anne Arundel County, Chris Volk. I have a case number under, and as you'll note, it's the years 2022 B Bravo 2022 248, and it's just been a long. And I've been patient as much as I could with it before I actually had to follow through and actually follow and affidavit it myself to get some sort of resolution to the issue at hand. When it pertained to her animal having feces and refusing to pick it up either off the deck and or her yard. So that's the first thing I like to say. But I believe that my evidence, as the picture states or shows, clearly states and shows the dog not only barking, but also the feces underneath the animal. So it was almost just by sheer luck that I was able to capture this particular picture where it kind of formulates and encompasses, if you will, all my three issues. I mean, there's the feces, there's the dog barking, howling, and obviously the deck. Well, we're not here for the deck today. The incident to be at hand specifically that occurred on March 29th, 2024, I believe it was a Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning. The dog just consistently howls. I got to look at the feces, as you can see underneath the dog. And it's just a complete annoyance. And I mean, it's to the point where, no matter how I try to speak to her or kind of explain to her the issues at hand, it's either ignored or I'm not coming to any real conclusion to get her to correct the issue. So, I mean, since we're dealing with a matter at hand, all events did occur in Anne Arundel County, state of Maryland, and it occurred on March 29th, 2024 at approximately 10:21 a.m. I really don't have much more to say other than, I just, like I said, it was unfortunate that I had to get to this point, but I didn't really see any other option given the fact the nature of my neighbor and the issue at hand. So that pretty much sums it up. I'm really not really sure what else to say.
All right. Thank you very much. So the one
Is it,
photograph, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jennifer.
I'm confused what the issue is. Is it one day the dog had a bowel movement on the deck? Is that, I'm confused at I understand there's a history here, but I didn't actually hear what issue we're hearing today.
Okay, so I'm sorry, ma'am. I apologize. I was trying to encompass the issue that it's been ongoing since 2022. The issues are already documented and on file for my affidavit, specifically talking about her removing her animal feces off her deck and in her yard. That's the issue. Also, the issue is their animal consistently barks excessively, and it's a disturbance. I mean, it's basically a matter of just the dog just consistently barks and it never stops barking, and it just seems like it's just ongoing. But those are the two main specific issues.
So the evidence you presented were from what was all, you said it was all, you just happened to catch the perfect moment where you had it all happening at once, and that's the
Yes.
evidence, and that's the date that you wrote the citation. But you're stating that these issues have occurred since 2022.
Right. I apologize. I'm trying to paint a picture that I didn't just, just come to this conclusion. Well, I'll just go down and file an affidavit and find us all here today where we're at today. I was very patient with the situation, and I'm trying to have her correct it on her own, but it just seemed like it took this for her to have any real resolution to her either, making her deck to be presentable and or cleaning up her dog feces, because the first attempt when I dealt with the environmental control, the case number that I gave you back in July of 2022, it was evident that particular person, they did their job. They put the information pamphlets on my neighbor's door, but then she was right back to it again the following, as soon as they cleared their case. So the issue, ma'am, I'm sorry, who asked me that? Was that Miss Jennifer?
Yes, that was me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to be clear. The issue is the dog having feces on the deck and or in her yard and not cleaning up after the dog, and also the dog excessively barking.
If I may ask a quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, please. Any of the commissioners have questions, please go ahead.
Yes.
All right, I'm looking at the citation. We're talking about the removal of the animal excreta for bean. I'm just looking at the county statute for it. Was the fecal matter on property other than her own property?
No,
Was it,
sir.
was it on your property? Was it on the roadway? Was it in the sidewalks or anything?
No, sir. It was always on my neighbor's property.
Okay, and which is her own property, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, okay. Okay. And as far as the disturbance, what was the dates for the dog that was when it was barking that was causing you an issue?
Well, I was told that I had to be specific in my affidavit and I couldn't just encompass.
Well, I mean, you can feel free to have supporting evidence. I mean, it's nice if you're going to present an affidavit of a specific date, you know, barking or the disturbance should have occurred on that date. But I mean, if you have supporting evidence from other dates, that's more than we're happy to see whatever evidence you have.
The only other evidence I have besides this picture, which I feel, like I said, I was very fortunate to have it capture all the issues in one picture, is the mere fact that I have a history with a complaint number of me trying to get the environment, the other department, to correct the issue, and it's all been logged under a case number. So that in itself is my evidence that it's just been an ongoing issue. I mean, yeah.
Excuse me.
Sorry,
Has
go ahead,
there-
Jackie.
Sir, has there been any improvement recently?
Actually, yes, ma'am, it has, significantly. But again, I don't know if it's because of this pending hearing, and then she's going to go right back to, you know, the whole deal, which I hopefully she doesn't. And then, you know, she's like, oh, that's over with, and she'll go back to her deal. But I mean, the deck was put in a manner where it's being, you know, I guess pending construction. So it's like boarded off, and the board and the rug aren't no longer there. And I haven't seen any more dog feces in her front yard and or in her backyard. I guess because she's, you know, doesn't have the deck anymore. But I mean, yes, to answer your question, yes, ma'am, it has been improvement. But the history would suggest that she's going to wait till after this hearing and then go back to her old ways.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask about the, let's talk about the barking for a second, because I understand you think this picture was fortuitous in that it encompassed everything, but
Yes,
all
ma'am.
I see is at one particular moment, this dog barked. And that in and of itself is not a nuisance. So talk to me about what has constituted a nuisance with this barking. I mean, does the dog bark at odd hours? Does it go on for an extended period of time? You know, one bark out on the back deck is not enough. So talk to us about that.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Understood. I just meant that it captured the dog. You know, it was evident that the dog was in the midst of speaking. So my shift is I work 12-hour shifts. So when I'm off, I'm off, and when I'm home, I'm home. The dog more basically, I mean, it's to the point where, like, if I do sleep in, sometimes I don't sleep in, but if I even trying to, you can hear the dog next door kind of like howling or having some sort of barking frenzy. And it would appear that she tries to mask it with a bathroom fan. So I mean, it's not as bad, but for the most part, you know, it's enough where it's like to the point where, you know, is this animal being like harbored in an environment where it's like, you know, it's just like caged or something where it doesn't have any control over its emotions and it just wants to, you know, be free, or, you know, it just sounds like a relentless type, you know, issue where the dog's in some sort of distress. But I mean, you know, with all full disclosure, I mean, it's not every single day, but it would be, I mean, for all I know, you know, it could be going on when I'm at work, but I can tell you that on the days I'm off and I'm home, you can hear the animal. And, you know, and like I said, it can be masked sometime by this bathroom fan, but it's pretty evident that the dog's howling and barking throughout the day.
Okay.
Sir, does it seem, is the dog mostly outside, or do you hear it when it's inside as well?
Well, normally the majority of the time it's inside, but the time when she had her deck in the state that it would consistently howl while it was on the deck. But for the most part, the dog, the noise pollution, or however it had to be worded, would be considered, in my opinion, a nuisance during the time the animal was inside the residence.
Okay, does anybody else have any more questions? I'm trying to find my copy of the code for animal excreta, because I wanted to dive into what Lieutenant Tillman was getting at with what he was reading. I know for the health department, we will follow up with animal waste, with complaints for animal waste because it draws in rodents and other issues. But as far as this citation goes, I don't know if it applies. Does it only apply if the excreta is not on, if it's in a public space or not their own, not the owner's property? Is that how that works? I'm trying to find that.
According to the county code, I don't know if we do this after we're done and we're going to discuss the case, but according to the county code, it has to be done on public property or some other right of way or property that is not owned by the owner of the animal. So if it's on her own property, there's no standing for this charge. So, but again, we can discuss that during the.
Okay, that's fine. All right, I wanted to try to find that. All right, if that's all, if no one else had any other questions, then we'll hear from Ms. Keith.
You ready?
Yeah, I guess, go ahead, Ms. Keith. So please, you can, repeat or whatever you like.
Well, obviously he is correct that we do have a history, and I feel like I have to explain part of that problem so that it makes sense with the timeline. March 25th, Monday, I talked to Deshaun Wilson at Anne Arundel County Social Services, Child Protective Services, because Mr. Idlehite has this like anger issue. I'm constantly hearing him screaming at his daughter using the F-bomb.
Can I interject real quick?
You may.
Can we just try to just keep it in regards to, I understand there's a history. We realize there's definitely a history and not to.
No, I understand.
Just keep it only with with pertains with the animal and the issue that we just had for the citation.
I understand. I'm not trying to shift subjects on that, but where it becomes so important is none of this really came into play until March 29th. I talked to her on March 25th. 4 days later, I've got 4 different agencies contacting me with a problem. Now, the deck, I understand. I've been working with the permitting department for over 2 years now. I got a permit on it and everything, but I had to work with them. It took a year just to get them to get that straight. And I made multiple phone calls. I even have a phone call into them now, and I still haven't heard back from them. So as far as the deck, I understand his issue with not wanting to see it. I get that. I don't want to see it either. But I was trying to also take care of other things that I needed to. As far as the excreta, I pick up her feces every single day. We have these little poop stations around the neighborhood, and I take my little bags with my little leash and I clean up right after her immediately. I keep them tied right onto the handle. And then every single day I put them on the back of my tire. I have an old RAV4. I stick them on the back there. And every day when I leave out, I take it with me and dump it off at the station. I don't leave it sitting in my yard. This picture depicts when I had just let her out. So I don't think that one poop constitutes me leaving it behind. The only way I can get any quicker is if I was to attach a bag to her rear end. I mean, I don't know how else I can be more efficient with that. As far as the noise issues, I mean, my dog's sitting right here and I haven't heard a peep out of her, and she's not one to generally make a lot of noise. If you were to come bang on my door, she would. But just to make noise, she's not that kind of dog. Now, we do have several neighbors that are on the other side of me, and there's one that is in the next section over. There's several dogs around here, and I don't know if he's just mistaken it being one of the neighbors' dogs, because I know that if I go out back, my neighbors next door, their dogs bark incessantly at me when I go out back. So I don't know if that's the problem, but I feel this is more a retaliation against this issue that I'm seeing with, social services, because all this came like 4 days after that. And Mr. Idlehite never attempted to have any conversation with me personally at all.
Okay. So I think you've addressed all the issues. Jackie has a question.
Yes, What type of dog? How old is she and how long have you had her?
She's an Akita. I've had her since she was a puppy. I actually, so I was in Queen Anne County. So I've spent the townhouse I'm living in. I bought that one when I was 23 years old. So I stayed there until I got married and I moved to Queen Anne's County. Then I stayed there till I got divorced. Then I came back. So this is like a temporary thing. I'm getting ready to move back to Queen Anne's County. I already have a house.
Good.
It's already. I know Adam will be happy with that. But
So how long have you had her? How old is she?
she's 4.5.
Thank you.
I've had her since she was a puppy.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, may I add, Officer Gum came out and I allowed her to come into my household and everything. And she said she really liked the way I introduced my dog and she could tell how well behaved and trained she was. I went through all her little tricks that she does. And, you know, she knows how to heel, stay. I've had every one of my dogs to either the PetSmart training, there's a Queenstown training center in Queenstown on the Eastern Shore. And way back when I was 15, I took my dog to the YMCA. My mom said that I couldn't have a dog unless I trained her and fed her and took care of her 100% by myself. So that's what I did. And I took that dog everywhere with me. I've also been involved on the shore. Things were a little bit easier on the shore because I was there for an extended period. So I have really good connections with Spay Now Veterinary Clinic and like the different animal rescues there. I did a lot of like helping out with the cat rescues. I used to I used to go in and help Chesapeake cats and dogs, you know, and help clean up after all their animals and stuff. I even fostered some of their cats that had ringworm because they were coming from Calvert County. Is that right? That's
Okay,
not
I don't mean to be rude, but can we just stick to the
I'm
issue
sorry.
here?
Yes, you're fine. You're
um,
fine. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of background.
That's fine. I think you've hit all the main points. Does anybody else have any other questions for Ms. Keith?
If sorry, I don't want to interrupt Ms. Keith. I do want to say one final thing if I could.
Let me ask if the commissioners have any other questions, and then you can address us again quickly. No, anybody else? No. All right, quickly, Mr. Idleheight.
Yes, just real quickly. Keeping the matters at hand, that Department of Social Services complaint that she brought up was closed, and evidence can be provided that there was no complaint, no found.
Okay, well, again, we're not here for any of that. Okay,
No, I get it.
I understand
want,
she's accusing you of retribution for that, and that's fine. I understand, but again,
yeah, and the
that's not
timeline doesn't match up either. This complaint has been going on since 2022,
Right.
and then also, if I could add, and I'm not trying to recant my affidavit, but there is a little island outside of our front yard that doesn't constitute as either one's property, and I don't have any evidence or pictures that would substantiate any feces on that island area that would be outside of the sidewalk area, which would be considered public property. But if she goes and reverts back to having the dog feces not be cleaned up and it's in that area, I'll be sure to take a picture of it and document it. But as of yet, there's nothing been out there, and she has been cleaning up after her dog. But that area has been known to have dog feces as well, not just inside her specific location of her area. And then finally, as far as her dog not making any noises, I mean, that environment is completely different. She's right next to the dog. So it doesn't really, in my opinion, suggest that the dog is a well-behaved dog when she's in the presence of the owner. So that's it.
All right, thank you. And actually that would be the last question I would have for you, Ms. Keith, is, you know, your daily schedule. Is the dog home alone for any length of time throughout the day? I mean, what's the schedule like with your dog? And where is your dog kept in a
No.
room or anything like that? It has access to the whole house.
She has access to the main level and the upstairs level. And what I've been doing just to try to keep as much peace as possible is I just close my blinds and I turn on a little bit of music, and then that way she won't be distracted by any exterior stuff going on.
Okay.
So I take this seriously. I mean, I made a point to make an effort. I don't believe that that's the case. I've often, you know, run out and come right back home because my schedule's always shifting. I'm self-employed. So I'll run out and I'll come right back home and she's sacked out. She doesn't even hear me come in through the door. And that's before closing the blind and turning on music.
All right. Thank you. All right. So I think with no more questions, I think we can close for deliberations. I think we've heard plenty of testimony. we'll go ahead and start with Lieutenant Tillman. What do you have to say, Lieutenant Tillman?
In reference to the first count for the removal of the animal excreta, it does not apply to this case. It doesn't meet the definitions of the citation of the county code, so I suggest that we strike that. And as far as the public nuisance and the animal disturbance, I still don't believe I'm not saying the dog doesn't bark, but there's no concrete evidence one way or the other that the dog is causing at the level of creating a public disturbance. So that's my opinion.
Thank you, sir. Jackie?
I tend to agree. The picture he showed one little pile of poop, which is normal, and I wouldn't expect her to run out and clean it up right off the bat. I think, Dr. Hammer, maybe you can confirm Akitas, I think, are known to be kind of whiny, just like German Shepherds, which I have. But it sounds like she's trying to minimize that. But I'm not seeing any real evidence about constant barking like we usually see in a lot of our cases.
Okay. Is that all you got, Jackie? Okay. Nicole?
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think the evidence is there to support upholding any of these 3 citations.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Jennifer?
I agree with everyone so far. I mean, I tried to question just to see, is there something more? But I mean, other than a singular bark, we didn't hear any testimony like, did the dog bark for 5 minutes or 5 hours? I can't see anything to uphold any of these citations.
Okay. And Dr. Hemmer?
Thank you. To address Jackie's question, my experience with the Akitas have been they're very quiet dogs. They tend to bark when they alert, and that's about the extent of it. They're not as whiny as some shepherds that I've seen. They tend to be very stoic, has been my impression in my work experience with the Akitas over the years. So that's just Jackie's
Thank you for the
concern.
correction.
As far as the citations that are out there, I agree with the rest of the commission members. That they should probably all be dismissed.
All right, thank you. And Ed, I don't know when you popped in. I don't know if you popped in enough time to weigh in on this.
I'd probably rather not. It wouldn't be fair. I got in right on the end. I'm playing computer, trying to get rid of the spinning circles. So you guys are okay.
All right. So then I'll go ahead, and I agree with the group. I think that the animal excreta is obvious. I think any of these 3 things, if properly documented, we could have a discussion about. So I think moving forward, Mr. Idlehite, if he has video or audio evidence, definitely helps. And anything like that moving forward, you could always bring these charges again. But at this point, I think we can go ahead and take a vote. So does anybody have a motion?
Make a motion
I make
that
a
these
motion.
3 that. Oh, go ahead, Dr.
Jennifer.
Hemmer.
No, go ahead, Jennifer.
I was just going to make a motion that all 3 citations, the one ending in 0959, 0960, and 0958 be dismissed.
Jackie?
I second.
So we didn't discuss or ask her about the fact that her dog at the time of the agenda was unlicensed.
But that's not one of the citations.
I know, but we should follow up on that somehow, or have animal control follow up.
I will follow up.
Yes.
Thank
after
you.
this.
Okay. So we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Got it.
So before we move on to the next case, Ed, do you want to take back over? You want me to roll, and you can take a break this month, whatever you want to do here.
Well, one of our issues at the end of the meeting will be my replacement. So you can be thinking about that. I'm not resigning or quitting. My time is up, unfortunately. So It's up to you, Tom. You can keep on rolling, or I can take over, or
All right, I'll stay with it.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Stay with it.
You get a reprieve.
Don't forget that issue at the end, though.
Yeah, we'll get back to it. I kind of started the meeting with it when you were having difficulties. I kind of brought it up. All right, so we can go ahead and call the next case.
If you are a participant in the Mendez versus Cox, please raise your hand using the raise hand function so I can promote your permissions. There we go, got one. And it looks like we only have the complainant here. The defendant is not present, so.
Sorry, I'm moving screens around. I lost my mute capability button there. I guess have we tried to reach out to the owner?
We don't, once they confirm that they've received the summons, it is their responsibility to, be here to, they appealed the citation, so they need to be here on their own accord.
Okay, fair enough. Well, if that's the case, I think we need to uphold if that's how I would understand it.
Say that again.
I make a motion, we uphold the citation.
Second.
So Mr. Cox,
Wait, before we do that,
Okay.
if we had done that with the excretia citation, it would have been incorrect based on the affidavit. So I think we at least need to hear what the substance of the complaint is before we just decide to uphold it, because it might not be something we could uphold otherwise.
Well, I guess that's
I
good.
don't think we can just uphold it.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Good point, Jennifer.
Okay, so Mr. Cox, basically the Mr. Mendez had not shown up here today, but we'd like you to well, I guess we need to address the complaint here and see exactly what your complaint is. So I was actually trying to look at that. Give me 1 second.
It is.
I have animal disturbance against Rocky. Is that correct, Mr. Cox?
I guess Rocky is what? The name of the dog?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cox, are you live on the screen? Because you just spoke and your lips didn't move.
That's his background picture. He needs to turn his camera on.
Well, I guess before he let's swear him in first
Yes.
before we do anything.
Let me see.
Should be bottom left corner. There's a camera button. Video.
Bottom left-hand corner.
It's right next to where you would mute or unmute yourself, sir. It will look like a little film recording thing. If you just click that, it should turn your camera on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm new to this Zoom thing, so bear with me. It says Zoom is unable to detect a camera.
No.
No, that's
fine.
Yeah, I know about that.
Let me.
While we're waiting, don't the rules say if one party or the other doesn't show up, that
Yes.
it's ruled in favor? I mean, I don't know what we're talking about here.
Ed, if we all determined in the last case that animal excretia only applied if it was on public property and not the owner's property. So if we had just upheld that citation without actually looking at the facts, it would have been legally incorrect. So I think we at least have to hear what the facts are before we decide to uphold it. I'm not saying it's not a valid case. I just think we need to put it on the record
Okay,
in
well,
case there is an appeal. And since
I
the
wasn't here
gentleman
for
did
the
not,
first case, but I am familiar with those rules that it says that if one party or other doesn't show up, then it's ruled for the other party. But okay, I'm not in charge.
Well, no, I think in this case, I see where Jennifer's coming from, but seeing what the citation is, I think, unless at this moment, once we swear Mr. Cox in, unless he changes his mind, I can't see why we wouldn't uphold. But in the last case, Ed, we had the animal excreta, that, and basically it didn't apply because that feces was only found on the owner's property. And for that citation to be valid, it would have to be that animals, feces on other people's property. So it wouldn't have warranted that moving forward.
Yeah,
So,
I noticed that much. Yeah, but
In this case, so the way
This
it went,
one's a little different.
only one person showed up, so the citation would be upheld. Now, if they come back and say, no, we still don't want to pay it, then they can appeal the decision and go to district court. So technically, regardless of what the complaint is, we have to, like, you're supposed to uphold it in favor if they don't show, and then if they want to move forward, they got to take it to district court. because
Okay,
we're not here.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'd be fine with. I don't know, do we have anybody from law here that can confirm that? I'd be fine either way. I think it sounds correct either way. I know in the past we would just uphold and move forward. I don't know that we would move any further. I understand your concern, Ms. Brienza, but I don't know if someone from law would confirm that. I'd be fine to swear Mr. Cox in and just have him say that, that's what it is, and we can move forward the same way. I think we're going to end up moving forward the same way either way.
No, I agree. I was just trying to make a record.
No, I get you. I understand. So
Well, for expediency, Tom, why don't we just swear him in, let him say what he has to say, then vote and move on?
that's fine. Let's just
If
do
that's
that. And
acceptable to the
if he
commission.
has no camera, I think we can move forward with swearing otherwise, if that's where we're at. So, Mr. Cox, do you not have a camera? Is it just, or is
I do have a camera, and
it's just not working?
yeah, I don't know. I'm looking for some way to turn it on. I mean, I tried to turn it on through the Zoom.
All right.
And
Well, let's not worry about that for now. Go ahead. I think let's just go ahead and swear him in, and then we'll hear, we'll hear his complaint, and then we'll move forward.
Okay, sir, if you can, do raise your right hand. Even though we can't see it, please do on good faith. Raise your right hand. Do you declare and affirm under penalties of perjury the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, I do.
Okay,
Okay.
can you please state your name and address for the record?
Greg Cox, 8040 Jumpers Hole Road, Pasadena, Maryland.
Okay, so Mr. Cox, you've issued a citation ending in let's see, 740-961 for animal disturbance. The animal's name is Rocky. The owner is Mr. Mendez. Do you want to confirm that that is the case?
Yeah, that is the case.
Okay. And do we need to hear anything more? I think at that point we can make a motion, right?
This, Mr. Cox is the complainant, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Mr. Cox, do you have any audio
Oh, yeah.
evidence of the barking?
For sure. Now, I sent all my exhibits to Autumn. Yeah. Can you play
Okay.
that?
Just for the record.
Sure.
Give me 1 second. My computer's not being my friend.
This video is from my security camera. And
It's the MP4 video, and it is
Yeah.
in the, there you go.
Can you hear it?
No.
hold on a second. You'll hear it in a minute. Well, there is audio in there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Give me
think
one. I'm gonna stop sharing and reshare it with audio. Give me 1 second.
Well, I'll tell you what I could do. I also posted it on Vimeo if that helps.
no, I think it's fine. I mean, again, with the owner not being present, I don't think that it. I don't believe in- There we go.
This is the Rottweiler that you're hearing. The issue is it's 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Cox. Well, that's, I think with that evidence and with the owner having not shown up, we're ready for a motion here.
I make a motion, we uphold the citation ending in 40961.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Can I just say, did everyone read Curran's comments?
Oh, I didn't, was it come in the
Didn't
chat?
see it.
Yes, they're in the chat. They're in the Q&A.
Oh, Q&A.
It says,
Right.
Uh,
It's not automatically dismissed for citation cases.
Okay.
So we are still required to find that a violation occurred.
Okay. And that
thank
was,
you, Karen.
so
okay.
we still good, right?
All right, well, yeah, I think based on what we, based on what we heard in the video. Thank you, Karen, again, I mean, does that change anybody's calculus on what we saw? Do you want to hear or see more evidence, Miss Brienza? Jackie?
No.
I don't think we can make any decision like that based on what Kern said. If the dog owner is not here to testify, then we uphold the citation automatically.
That's
No, that's not what I'm
not
reading.
exactly
He
what
says,
he's, what he's
Did I
saying.
miss that?
He's saying that we have to conclude that there was enough evidence to uphold the citation. And we just heard the barking video.
it says but it says we're the witness. But there's more than one witness. I read that as the complainant.
Yeah, so basically because the complainant is here and the defendant is not, we still have to, he's saying that we have to find the violation did occur. So by watching the evidence, yes. So what you're saying, Ms. Brenza, is correct. That displaying the evidence, finding that something did happen to vote on it, which is what we just did.
But
Correct.
we still have to find a violation occurred. I'm not saying that it didn't based on the evidence. I'm just saying we have to look at it. We can't just.
Okay, so I understand moving forward, that's what we have to do, but we just did that. As long as we agree that what we just saw was a violation, then we can move forward. I understand moving forward, if we saw a case like this again, we would have to make sure that we did exactly what we just did.
Correct.
Correct. And so I think maybe a 2-second discussion. Did we see enough evidence that we feel
Sure.
comfortable a violation occurred? I believe I did. That's why I made the motion to uphold. Commission members, your
I
thoughts?
second.
And then we do have a second on the table. And again, I feel the same way. I mean, we can discuss. Let's back up then and discuss. Okay. I mean, that's what we
No need to discuss. I know you're doing it for my benefit. I
No,
just
no.
wanted to go through the steps and we did. And I'm fine. I think the threshold is much lower when the defendant didn't show up. What I've
Okay.
seen is sufficient.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. I mean, generally speaking, I would, give everybody the opportunity to discuss. If we don't think that's necessary, then we do have a motion and a second on the table. And I would tend to agree. If there's anybody else that wants to have any discussion before we go ahead and finalize this, let me know. Okay, with none, we have a motion and a second on the table. So all in favor? Okay, unanimous.
Are we ready for the next case, or does you guys want to take a quick recess?
I'm good to move forward. Anybody else need anything?
No, we can go.
In the case of Animal Care and Control versus Jessica Victor, please raise your hand using the raise hand function. Promote to panelists, change. So if everyone could turn on their cameras and microphones so that way I could swear you in. I would also like to note, Tom, that this case is against our two dangerous orders and some of the evidence is graphic in nature. So I would just like to have that warning out there that when evidence is displayed, that we have the warning that it is gruesome. It may make others feel a little bit uncomfortable when they see it.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's swear everybody in and we'll get started.
Okay. Okay, so if everyone could please raise your right hand for me. All right. Raise your right hand. Do you declare and affirm under penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, perfect. And we're gonna start with animal care and control and then go to the left. So Officer Herbert, if you could just state your name and address for the record.
Officer Herbert, 411 Maxwell Fry Road, Millersville, Maryland, Anne Arundel County, 2108.
Thank you. And then Ms. Childress, if you could please state your name and address for the record.
It's Kenitra Childress. My address is 7220 Hanover Parkway, Greenbelt, Maryland, 20770.
And then Ms. Victor, if you could state your name and address for the record.
Jessica Victor, 1978 Scotts Crossing Way, apartment 301.
Perfect.
And I'll
Also,
post my
Tom, oh, thank you.
Right.
Also, Tom, it is animal care control versus Ms. Victor, but we do have the victim here. If you would like to call on her after animal care control presents their case.
Absolutely. And I'm going to remind everybody before we start again, you know, that obviously there could be histories or anything involved. There's some background. Try to stick to what we're here for. We're here for two separate dangerous orders for both camo and winter. So with that, Officer Herbert, if you'd like to begin.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. It was reported from Anne Arundel Medical Center that on April 13th, 2024, camo, a Presa Canary type mix, tan brindle in color, neutered male, and winter, a cane corso type mix, gray in color, spayed female while running at large, both owned by Miss Victor, were involved in a severe human exposure as well as an animal attack. And that occurred in a hotel hallway outside of the hotel rooms. The victim, Miss Childress, sustained 16 sutures to her hand, as well as her dog was injured as well. In 2019, there was another incident with camo and winter that we issued a warning letter for, which was another animal attack. And then in 2021, similar scenario, another extended stay motel. The dogs were loose because the leash that Ms. Victor had winter on broke. So there's quite a few incidences. This latest one, again, is in an extended stay public area, and they were both loose. The dogs were issued a dangerous order based on that severity of the injuries and the history. Ms. Victor was very cooperative. Once we found her, brought the dogs here to Animal Care and Control for their quarantine. And they are still in the care and custody of Animal Care and Control today. And that brings us to the appeal hearing for the owner. There's also, I do have a witness statement from this prior incident on April 13th. I don't know if Mr. Manley is here, but I do have a written signed statement that we obtained from him as a witness and identifying the owner and the dogs.
Okay. Is that in evidence?
I'm trying to pull it up right now. Please
Yeah.
just give me 1 second. So I can tell you exactly where it's at.
I'm gonna caution everyone real quick, since we're dealing with a statement without the person present. Anyone who followed Bill 124 this year, one of the concerns was using circumstantial evidence in a case, in a dangerous order case. So I mean, in general, a witness's statement without the person here to testify in a regular court would not be allowed. So because that bill did not pass and we are we do not strictly adhere to the rules of evidence in this commission. We can review that statement, but I think you need to keep it in the back of your mind that if we were standing in court, the written statement alone without the witness's testimony, without the witness being present to testify, would not be allowed. So please just give it the whatever appropriate weight you feel is necessary.
Thank you, Jennifer. Dr. Hammer.
Yeah, Officer Herbert, what hotel did this occur and where was it? Was it a hotel in Anne Arundel County?
Yes, sir. It was 170 Admiral Cochrane Drive. It's the
Okay.
extended stay in and
Okay.
out.
Great, thank you.
I'm debating, should we hear from Ms. Childress while we're waiting for the statement? I think we should go ahead. Ms. Childress, are you the victim?
Yes, me and my Max.
Okay, if you'd like to go ahead and describe the situation.
My dog and I were walking his morning poop, and I was checking out from the hotel. I was there just for a few days because there was some issues with my apartment getting together. So I'm new. I came from Wisconsin. I took a job here at Bowie State. So just to let you know, I'm not from here. And as I was walking back with my dog back to our room, our hotel room, two big, huge dogs came out of the hotel, one of the rooms, and all of a sudden them coming at my dog. And I was looking at the door to see if someone's coming to get him. And I went down because I saw them attacking my dog, and my natural instincts was to grab my dog and go to the ground with him and cover him as much as possible. I thank God that I'm a little bit obese, and I had a sweater on, and I protected my dog. My dog Max was underneath me, and these two dogs were attacking me. And I'm saying, help, help, get your dog. Nobody came. And this older Caucasian man, I think that's the young man that has a statement. He stated that he told me to stay down. And I heard them saying, the owner, who's the owner? And then I think he said, you can get up now. And when I got up, it was a lot of blood. I thought it was my dog. But apparently it was me. And I think of my adrenaline, that these pure blood just coming from my hand. It just a lot of blood, a lot of blood. But I wanted to check my dog, and they called for the ambulance. As there's a lot of it was a lot of blood. I had a lot of, you could see within my hand, and it was not the regular blood. And I know that the defendant, she started wiping up the blood from the ground, yeah, and then I don't remember the attack as much. I thank God I don't, but I remember the initial, those dogs coming out and coming at my dog, and I went to the ground and grabbed them and suffocated them underneath me, and I took the blunt of the attack because I didn't want them to kill my dog. Then it could have been the other way. Sure could have been the other way. And then when I tried to contact the lady, through the hotel main office, and I asked for her vaccination. I wanted to know if the dogs had rabies or anything. She said she would get them. They're in her storage. She never gave them to me. Just this, I don't want to talk about her or anything, but I'm just saying, no communication. The empathy was not there to give me any information. And the hospital wanted to know if I had the vaccination. I didn't want them getting a rabies shot, but I did get a tetanus shot. My dog is fully vaccinated. So, yeah.
Okay, Ms. Childress, do you have anything else you'd like to add? Please take your time.
She took that away from me. The fear I have now for animals. She took that from us. She took that from being back.
Yes, Jackie. You're muted, Jackie.
Thank you. Ms. Childress, just take a moment. When you feel like you can answer, I'm just wondering, how is your dog and how is your hand?
Hey, Max. I just started him. My coworker, Mary Lou, she has a small dog walking group. So I joined that for him so he can try to get back into the routine. I have videos from last week. He's doing better. He's doing better, but he's still a little squirmish. You know, he waits for me to lead him, you know. And normally he doesn't do a lot of walking because he has a dead leg. He was born with a dead leg, but he use it. So I'm not gonna amputate it until it gets like where he get arthritis or it comes a problem. So he's normally in a stroller. And so when he does his dog walk with the small dogs, is a stroller. And I'm trying to get him comfortable. He seemed good last Sunday. And then as far as me, I'm getting better. I have an appointment on Wednesday. My nerves and the tendons in my middle finger was off. So they had me in a brace. And I just have permanent scar damage on my fingers. It's permanent. If you want to see it now, it's still there. It's a lot. But it's healing. Thank God. But it's still there, and I have to go get some skin graft underneath. There's a lot of they might have to go in and take some of the tissue because it's a lot of thick tissue. So when I try to do the bending of, this is my right hand to bend, it pulls. It's pulling my hand is pulling because it's still in the healing process too. Yeah.
Thank you.
But for the last month, I've been wearing a brace. They want to make my tendon strong in my middle finger. But other than that, it's more mentally. I want to be better mentally. I love animals. I'm scared of big dogs. Like that.
Just take your time, Ms. Childress. Does anybody else have any other questions for her while she's taking her time here?
Well, excuse me. I apologize. I'm okay.
No, please, just you can take all the time you need.
Okay.
I had a question about the hotel itself. Is it?
Yeah.
I'm somewhat familiar with the area. My office space is not far from there. Is the hotel like a interior space? Is it an exterior space where this occurred? Is it like you walk up to like an outside door?
Okay. Yes.
Can you
Tom?
describe that?
Sure, Tom. Okay, so it's somewhat similar to like a hotel. It's not hotel, apartment. It has upstairs. You go upstairs, and then it has the downstairs. And I actually have a video of how it's the actual environment. And I was upstairs, and I was so close to those stairs when that dog came out. And each apartment who has a dog has a little we have a little magnet say that for that housekeeper to know that there's dogs present. I don't know if hers had one, but I had the right to have my dog there. And it's almost like an apartment complex. It looks like an apartment, if I may. Did that answer your question, Tom? Is that Tom?
Yes, correct.
Yes, it's like an apartment.
Okay.
And I was on the second floor, upstairs.
Okay.
And she was on a lower. Actually, I believe she was directly underneath me.
Okay.
I believe there's some photos in the file. If you want them to bring them up, Tom.
Which photos would you like me to?
I can go find them. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So does anyone have any other questions before we move on?
I'm just curious if this might be more a question for the officers involved. Are there security cameras at this hotel? Is there any security footage?
There's body cam from Anne Arundel County Police.
No, I meant of, I guess, the common areas of the hotel. I was talking about from the hotel.
Yeah.
There is not, to our knowledge.
Okay. Well, if there's no other questions of either Officer Herbert or Ms. Childress, then we can move on to Ms. Victor. Let one last go for anybody else. We want to move forward.
Just add, I don't know if that was if you guys took into account what the written statement. I don't know what his statement is, but we couldn't find the owner for a minute. It felt like eternity, but the owner was nowhere around for a while. It took a while. She wasn't in the room. So from what I was heard, she was getting breakfast in another building.
Okay.
And I did receive scrape marks from the ground on my other hand, but that's here or there. That's not the dog bites. But to let you know, I was on the ground and my dog was underneath me. My goal was to save my dog.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
Jackie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Childress. After the incident happened, where were the dogs and how did you get away from them?
I remember the man coming and he said, stay down, stay down. He was telling me to stay down. I wanted to get up. I guess the person wasn't there yet, or she hasn't contained them. And eventually told me to get up. And then one of the hotel personnel had put us in a room directly across from her that wasn't being occupied. They didn't even let me go up to my room, and they were trying to help me, I guess, with all the bleeding. They were trying to wrap it to stop the bleeding, but it was because it was like, and I'm trying to say my dog, because my dog had blood all around him, but most of that was my blood, but I didn't know that at the time. So I thought it was him. And I kept saying, check my dog, check my dog, check my dog, you know, and I can hear the defendant saying, he's fine, he's fine. But my thing is, it's a lot of blood, and I've never seen so much blood. But
But you don't know what happened with who came and
oh,
got the
I
dogs?
did.
The
Yes, yes.
dogs run
In my
off,
video, in that video, I hear the paramedics, and I can hear the dog. I finally had my phone, and I wanted to call my family to let them know my situation. And I can hear the dogs. I guess they went back into her room, but you can hear them bark. God, I can't describe it. It's such a vicious bark. So rough. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way these dogs sound, but it was rough dogs. You can hear them, but she's in the room with me, but you can hear those dogs in another hotel room barking. And if I think I sent that video to animal control. I don't know if I did, but I think I did.
Okay.
And you can hear them when I'm talking, or I can give you the video of me you can hear me talking and talking to the paramedics and saying, please check my dogs. You check my dogs. And you can hear those dogs barking in another hotel room. And my dog is small. He's a Havanese.
So I guess I'm still wondering how the dogs got back into their room.
Eventually she came back. I think she was getting breakfast, and eventually she came.
Let's go ahead and I think at this point we can go on to Ms. Victor. I mean, unless I understand, you know, maybe she can shed some clarity as to how the dogs got back.
Actually, before we do that,
okay.
and I don't mean to be gruesome, but events recently in the county have made me want. I want to protect the record. I don't mean to be gruesome, but I think we do need to show the injuries, since this hearing is part of the record. I believe there's another one that is slightly closer. Yeah.
And those are the pictures of the injuries that I have of the dog and of Miss Childress's hand.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So Ms. Childress, if you go ahead and mute yourself, we may come back to you and ask some questions. Just stand by. Thank you for your testimony. So Ms. Victor, you are here to appeal in some way, shape, or form this dangerous order. I don't know if you're trying to appeal the entirety of the order or maybe just a part of the order, but feel free to state your case. You need to unmute yourself.
Did that work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of exactly where to start. As this is a very traumatic and emotional case on both sides. I guess I can just start with my version of what happened that morning, and I can kind of go from there. Or would you prefer me to start with the previous history?
I think we should try to stick to the incident at hand as much as possible.
Okay.
And I think that most of us here, that's what we're looking at. I think we've seen a lot of evidence as to this case.
Sure.
We've only seen one statement, as Ms. Brienza has mentioned. It's not, it's not the same as having someone here giving a statement. So I think if you stick to the evidence and to this specific case to start, we can, we'll see where that goes.
Sure. So my name is Jessica. I have been in veterinary medicine, working at various veterinary ERs for the better part of 15 to 20 years now. Well, 15, 16 years. I work with all kinds of animals. That morning, I had just gotten off work as I work it's called the mid shift. I work 4 p.m. to 4:30. I don't ever get off at 4:30, but that's the time I'm supposed to be off. The morning of April 13th, I had just gotten home. I had put my dogs in the room. They were there for April 13th was actually my birthday. So they were there for me for my birthday. I was in between two leases. Had an opportunity to be at a farm. And that current tenant wasn't moving out until May 10th. So I was scheduled to stay at the hotel till May 10th. I put the dogs in the room and I went and got breakfast every morning. I went to go get breakfast from the hotel lobby. This morning, put the dogs in the room. I went, got breakfast. As I'm walking out of the breakfast lobby, you kind of walk down, you pass like the swimming pool and like a little basketball court, and then you walk straight and you can go right into our little dwelling, if you will, where all the doors are. About halfway down the path, I started hearing a lady screaming, oh my God, somebody help me. So I had no reason to think I was involved at all, but I booked it to try to help somebody. And then I see Miss Childress waving her hands like that and then getting down really quick. There was a blonde woman with a blue sweater with her son that was also there. I saw my two dogs. Winter was over by my door, shaking, terrified. Camo was still standing next to Miss Childress, wagging his tail, not actively biting her or trying to bite her. I didn't have to pull my dogs off of her in any way, shape, or form. I opened the door and I said, pardon my language, I said, get your asses in here. And I shut the door. And I immediately stayed by Miss Childress' side. I was a little taken back when she said the empathy wasn't there, as I was the only person that was there until paramedics arrived. I was the one that was wrapping her hand and helping her. I was the one who was checking her dog to make sure he was okay, because in my profession, I am qualified to do so. I didn't leave her side the whole time. I never once tried to wipe blood up from the hotel personally, because I wanted pictures of it. The cleaning people had cleaned it by the time the paramedics and stuff were gone. So I unfortunately never got those. But I stayed by her side the whole time, wrapping her hand, trying to calm her down, trying to take care of her. And it wasn't until the police and the paramedics were there that she even realized, I guess, that they were my dogs. If you look on the body cam footage that I provided, firstly, the very first part of it for this witness statement, that gentleman and I have talked previously. He knew those dogs were mine. He yelled at Camo and Winter because Camo and Winter peed on his bird feed that his wife puts out. So, but he was not, I did not see him there. I did see a woman in a blue sweater in the room that was next to mine. And I don't know if it was a relative or he was a younger gentleman, but not like, I don't know. Could have been her son. I don't know, to be honest. Called the paramedics. I stayed with her the whole time. If you review the body cam footage also, I do say on there multiple times, I didn't just say the dog is fine. I was trying very gently and very calmly to look over her dog for any puncture wounds, as I was going to offer, if I saw any, to take it to my hospital while she was in the hospital for medical treatment. I had no problem doing that. I wanted to help her. I wanted to be there. The EMS also looked over her dog, and it's also on body cam footage of them saying they didn't find a puncture wound on her dog. So I don't know if it was discovered after they had left and they were in the hospital, but I wasn't just trying to say her dog was fine. I would never do that. I have seen dog bites several weekly in my career. So also on the body cam footage as a for his witness statement, he was outside smoking a cigar in his truck. Again, I did not see him come back to offer any help or to help at all. I'm sure to Ms. Childress, it did feel like an eternity before I got there. When you're going through something traumatic, I completely understand. It feels like the world stops. I am not sympathetic to that. I personally have been there where she's at. If you look at my arm, that scar there and these scars on the back, I got bit straight through my arm. So I know the pain that she was going through, and I wanted to be there. And I know she said I was not empathetic when the hotel encouraged her to call me, but I don't think the hotel also told her that they're the ones who told me not to talk to her.
Okay, Miss Victor, can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
I know that you're focusing on her kind of description of you specifically. Again, we're here because of the dogs. Okay, so we need to discuss the situation with the dogs. You are here basically saying that you're going, saying these dangerous orders do not apply. We're here for that specific reason. Okay. Anne Arundel County Animal Care and Control has placed 2 dangerous orders on your dogs, and you're saying that those orders are not warranted. So we need to discuss, did these dogs bite Miss Childress? Did they, are you saying that didn't happen? This is what we need to we need to go down that path. Okay. So if you could kind of change or move your testimony towards that direction.
Okay. I apologize. I was just trying to.
No problem. This is very emotional across the board,
out.
I'm sure. So please feel free. I mean, I want to give you some leeway to kind of give us some background here, but I want to kind of start focusing on the animals and why we're here specifically.
Sure. So originally in Mrs. Childress' first statement, she originally said that there were 3 dogs that came out of that room, 2 large dogs and a small dog. I only have Winter and Camo. I don't have 3 dogs. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning that in a moment. You'll also, I also provided a video that Autumn could pull, if Autumn could pull up. The biggest question here in this, to me, is how did my dogs get out of that room? How did that happen? I was the only one staying in that room. Nobody had ever been there. It was just my dogs. It's a very heavy lever pulling down indwelling door. So for my dogs to have opened that door, they would have had to jump up on the door, grip the door with their paws and walk it back, and then have it open long enough for both of them to get out. managed to take a video. I had the hotel inspect it. My lock on my door was faulty. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't there to see. Maybe there was a third dog there. I don't know. I was not there at that point. Yes, I believe that's it. Yes.
Okay.
I was not there, during the initial, when they first got out. Is that one 23 seconds?
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize, Autumn. It's this is just a secondary video showing that the lock was faulty. If you go back, it's the one where when I'm walking up, it shows number 914 on the door.
Keep going, Ms. Victor. I'm going to try to find it for you. There's a lot of evidence.
I apologize. It should be in the email where it says door videos.
Ms. Childress, I saw you had a question. Just go ahead and hold your questions. I'm gonna let her finish her testimony. Just write down anything you might have, okay?
So that was the original statement, that there was 3 dogs. I know Ms. Childress' dog was also, if a dog is not wearing a harness or a collar or on a leash, is that considered at large, even if the owner is right there with them? I'm asking.
You're right.
I don't want to accuse and be wrong.
In Anne Arundel County, an animal that is outside of its own residence needs to be on a leash.
Okay.
Or I guess I don't know if that would pertain if it was in the person's arms, let's say, if it was being held, but otherwise I think it needs to be, if it was walking on its own, it needs to be on a leash.
Okay.
And under control.
Okay, thank you. So yes, her dog was also not on a leash. Again, I wasn't there, so I don't know how, but my door got pushed open. There was also, again, why I wanted these pictures, there was blood right at my door. So something happened right at the threshold of my door and then led right out, maybe not even 6 feet to where Miss Childress was laying down. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. As far as my dogs being dangerous, they play with dogs that are small and fluffy. I provided several pictures with Camo and Winter playing with cats. Camo found 2 baby raccoons that he brought me in his mouth gently, that we rode to an animal rehab together. Unfortunately, my dogs being the size that they are, when they're excited and they see somebody, like, oh, a dog, a friend, they rush, and they rush quickly, and it's not polite, which is why my dogs are never, when they are, I've never once took them outside off leash, ever. Winter's 12, she'll be 13 in August. Yeah, never been off a leash, ever.
So let me ask you a question. Are you stating that do you believe that your dogs bit Miss Childress?
I wasn't there for it, but my dogs were outside. Again, Winter was by the door shaking. I don't think it was her. And according to Miss Childress' affidavit from her personal attorney, she only named Camo also. She didn't name Winter in that.
Okay.
And again, I understand. I am not in any way, shape, or form trying to take away from the trauma that Miss Childress has gone through. I've been there. I know it's scary, and I know it's traumatic. I know it's a painful recovery. I get that. And I'm not trying to not take accountability for that. But my dogs they're not dangerous. I know you got several statements from veterinarians, from old neighbors, from places of business that my dogs go into. If I could touch a little bit on, they said that they, for Winter's previous case, if I'm allowed to touch on that for a moment, because that was made.
Wait, before,
as a
when
determinant.
you say you're touch on that, are we talking about the 2019 warning that was issued? Is that, you said the previous case?
Yeah, the one that happened at extended stay. Yes.
Okay, is that Officer Herbert? Was that incident at the extended stay? Was that in 2019? Is that because you had referenced that earlier that there was a warning issued in 2019? Is that what
Yes.
the incident
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about? Okay.
Yep.
I was going to ask about that. I wanted to ask about the warning. So if you could touch on it briefly.
Sure. I will keep it very brief. Thank God I still had the pictures from that day in my phone. I provided them to Autumn as well. I know there's for some reason in their report they said that my dog or Winter was at large. No, Winter was attacked by an at-large dog who again was a small dog. We were walking that morning. The dog was on a dry rotted retractable leash, which I provided to animal control when I went back to the scene and found it. The dog had saw my dogs. It had ran and the leash was literally dry rotted. It had snapped off and the dog started started attacking Winter in the face. And at first, she wasn't even trying to defend herself. Winter was more in shock. And then the dog just kept going on her neck, on her face. And I'm screaming to the lady to please help me, help me. I'm holding Camo back. Camo never touched the dog at all. The lady wouldn't help me. She was just standing there staring. And I understand some people go into like a shock type of thing, but I'm screaming to please help me because I'm dealing with one hand now. Because my dogs were on leash, I was able to hold Camo back from trying to help his sister and defend her.
So to be clear, you're saying that the 2019 warning that was issued against Winter was not factually correct, that it was another dog that attacked your dog. Your dogs were both on a leash at the time.
Correct. And when they said that they had issued me a warning letter, that was not the way it was presented to me at all. When I spoke to the officer, I went above and beyond, taking pictures, drawing arrows, like showing where the dog came from. Autumn, I think I sent those to you as well.
Just to interject real quick, the warning letter for Winter was June 14th, 2019. That was a separate incident with a dog named Duke, a lab mix. And then there's one incident in which I think that's what we're referring to right now.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to clarify that there are 3 separate incidences. I can open up all the evidence that Ms. Victor has. I don't know how you guys want to do it. If you want to open it up, it's in the folder under Victor's evidence. But I can pull up all of it. There's just a lot, and I'm trying to navigate which to pull up.
I'm sorry. I know.
I just want to make sure I'm doing this fairly.
Well, that's fine. Let's the commission here. She's mentioned a lot of evidence here. Has everybody been able to review any of this evidence in your folders? Would you like anything specific brought up?
Definitely the body cam footage, because that shows the gentleman. I know the witness statement is kind of iffy, but the first thing that you see is the officer walk up to that gentleman and say, "Hey, do you know why somebody called police?" And I don't know. And again, I don't see him there. I never saw him there once. And for him in this statement to say that he didn't know I was the owner of the dogs when he had already yelled at me 2 weeks prior, he knew that they were my dogs. I was never trying to hide that they were my dogs. Either way, body cam footage.
Can you I know
can.
Ms. Childress, I see that you have questions. Just let's let her continue her testimony. She didn't stop your testimony. Let's let her finish and we can go from there.
Okay.
Is there a specific part, and because it's 17 minutes of footage, so I'm just gonna, as it plays, I'm gonna fast forward to it, and you just gotta tell me when to stop. Okay, because it's
Okay.
a lot to go from. All right, give me one
I
second.
understand. If you could definitely play that very first clip when the officer's
And-
walking up.
So, and to be clear, we're looking at this footage for what purpose?
We're looking at that one to show that the witness who claims he was the witness, it doesn't stick around to talk to officers, was sitting in his truck and states he doesn't know why officers would be there.
Okay.
Two,
Does it show that you were the one that responded and that you were the one there with Miss Childress? Is that,
Yes.
is that part of it too?
that's part of it. Three, it also shows EMS telling Miss Childress that they also did not see any wounds on the dog at the time.
Okay.
And then it also shows that her dog is not wearing any leash or collar either.
All right, let's go ahead and play a little bits of this here and see what we got.
Okay, so it needs to be backed up because it passed the officer walking up. There you go, right there.
Do you know of anyone waiting for police back here? No?
All right, pause it.
It's right here.
So you're saying that that's the gentleman who gave a statement, and you're saying you had an incident with him prior, and he should have known that it you know, basically the. All right, I get what you're saying here. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
If we fast forward, you can see. Yep, right about there.
Radio.
This is when Officer Storm got there.
This is her dog. Yeah. She's in that room. Okay. Yeah, her. She's upstairs. Okay. Are you okay? Are you injured? Shaken up. Yeah, she has bites on her hand. Okay.
Say check my dog. Want to make sure my dog is okay.
Yes. Okay, just so you know, everything's recorded on my body camera. So and your dog is injured as well?
I don't know. I can't tell.
Remember, I worked at a veterinary ER. Okay. The blood from his ear, there's no wound there. It's from mom was hugging him. Okay. So I can't find any active puncture wounds on the dog.
I was covering him with my body.
Okay. Where did this happen? When you walked out here? Right outside where the paper towels are laid out there?
So if you pause that, if you fast forward a little bit to when EMS is there. There we go.
They're gonna look at you.
C-H-I-L-D-R-E-S.
You want me to hold him while they look at you? And ma'am, when's your
EMS.
Big dogs with no leashes just came out of that room when we were walking.
And your dog was on the leash?
Yeah, he was on my. I was holding the.
So your one hand, the left hand over here? Okay. Can we check it out real quick?
All right.
She was holding him?
That's it for you, right?
Is this your
right
room?
there?
Mine.
All right. So we're waiting to see that the EMS thinks there's no puncture wound, right?
Correct.
I mean, I'm I don't know how that really applies here. I mean, in the after fact, there's a puncture wound shown, so I don't know that really matters. I don't want to waste our time here waiting for that.
Okay.
Unless you can just give me a good reason to, but does anybody else agree with that? I don't think that anyone else needs to see that. Did you need to see that, Jackie? I mean, you agree? Okay. All right. Like I said, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of evidence here. I don't want to make you feel like you didn't get to present your case properly, but at the same time, again, I want to push this back to, we're here for very specific reasons to uphold or deny, these dangerous orders. And right now, I've seen evidence that, all the evidence that you showed, at least in that video and that you discussed, is about basically issues between you and other people. The dogs themselves is what I'm worried about.
Right.
So,
which is why I have provided, again, a lot of evidence showing my dogs, I work at a veterinary hospital. They come to work with me every day. They have to be behavior tested to do that. I believe my practice manager sent in a letter stating that my dog's tasked with flying colors.
All right, let me ask the commission here, and Ms. Childress, just wait one second. Does any of the commissioners have any questions they want to start with right now? Because I feel like we're kind of starting to spin our wheels a little bit here.
Yeah.
I have a question. Because I understand, Ms. Victor, that you said you work at a veterinary ER and you bring your dogs to work with you and they have to be behavior tested, correct? So is it your assertion that these dogs had to have been provoked that day in order to bite Miss
Yes.
Childress?
Yes, considering after the last time Winter was attacked by the off-leash dog, it literally took me months. I met with a behaviorist because Winter was terrified to even walk outside. And again, when I found her, when I got there, she was on the doormat shaking. She was terrified. Now, Camo, he was standing there wagging his tail, but again, I didn't have to pull him off of her. I literally yelled at him and said, get your butt back in the room. Open the door, and they both went right in. In my profession, I do see dangerous dogs, potentially dangerous, vicious dogs even. And I know people have a bias towards their own dogs. I don't. And I have proved that and I don't know if animal control can look this up, but I had a dog named Esco that I rescued, and that one was a dangerous dog, and I had him behavioral euthanized at animal control because he was actually a dangerous dog. And I'm not naive to what that means.
So, Jennifer, do you feel like you got the answer to your question?
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Hammer, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm looking at this bite report from 21. That was a fatal bite with the winter.
Yes. It was a Jack Russell Terrier that had snapped its leash and attacked Winter. And like I said, I had one hand trying to separate her dog and my dog. And
okay.
Yeah.
And that was, thank you.
Sure.
Tom, I have a question. Miss Victor, you worked at an animal facility?
I still do.
Okay. And you say you bring your dogs to the facility with you?
Every day.
Why are they not licensed?
What do you, I thought they were licensed.
In the chart that I have, the information I have, your dogs are unlicensed.
I thought that they were licensed since the extended stay incident. That was part of
Licensed in Anne Arundel County.
Yes.
Licenses
thought
do
I
have
had
to be renewed.
Oh, hold on. What did you say, Autumn?
Licenses for animals do have to be renewed.
Oh, I thought once they're licensed in that county, then they're licensed.
No, it's an annual renewal.
Okay. I was not aware of that. I apologize. But that's the only reason why they weren't.
The reason I'm asking that is because if they're licensed, they can be looked up, and it will show the, hopefully it will show the shots and things of that nature in the event that we're talking about right now occurs. So thank you.
Okay.
And it's Mr. Evans, just so the commission's aware, I did pull it up. They are not licensed. And in the county of Anne Arundel County, they have never been licensed. So there's nothing that shows that they were expired or anything. They're just simply not licensed.
Thank you, Autumn. Jackie, you have a question?
I thought to give Winter out of quarantine on the last issue, that was part of what I paid for was the licensing.
So just to know, I'm just going off what the system is. I
Sure.
wasn't for the previous case. But all the other animals that you've had, with the exception of Diego and Esco, have been licensed. And as it stands, Winter and Camo have never been licensed in our system.
So Autumn, can you tell me, how was the animal released from quarantine without being licensed?
We still currently have the dogs. The dogs are still here at Animal Care and Control.
No, I meant from the previous incident. How were they allowed to be released last time without being licensed?
I might have to refer that question to, I'm gonna pull it up right now, give me 1 second, but I might have to refer that to Officer Herbert, just simply because I wasn't here when that happened, so I can't speak for the situation because I wasn't presently working here. Give me 1 second. Oh, disposition, redemption.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was back in 2021, and there's different people that were on this case that no longer work here. So,
I mean, Kristen, do you know if the animals were taken into custody at that point?
I'm looking at this. And no, they were never impounded in 2021.
So this is the only time they've been
Winter
impounded.
Winter did her quarantine there. And Camo did not, because again, Camo never, even though he was physically present, because he was on leash, he was never part of Winter and that other dog.
I wasn't involved in this case.
so just upon looking at it more, what it looks like with this case is what the warning letter and stuff came in that Winter wasn't at fault. In 2021, again, I'm just speculating, as if it were a case that happened today, that Winter was not held at fault. So the redemption process was significantly different than if that dog had been given an order that. So since there was no order, it was just a regular redemption. We can't force the dog to get licensed. We can't do any of that. We just recommend, hey, the dog needs to be licensed. So I'm assuming in this case, that's what happened, because it turned out it was the other animal's fault. They were running at large. We couldn't mandate them to do anything. If that makes sense, that's probably why Winter still to this day has not been licensed, and Miss Victor only paid for boarding fees to get her dog back.
Okay. So just to be clear, the 2021 incident, Winter was found not to have been at fault.
Correct, because the other dog was running at large.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
And Jackie, you've had your hand up, and then we'll go to you, Ms. Childress, after that.
Yes, thank you. I have two
Nicole,
questions.
too.
Actually, before I ask my questions, let's let Ms. Childress ask hers.
All right, fair enough. Thank you for being patient, Ms. Childress.
A lot of things I didn't see. I didn't remember seeing, but okay. Okay, first of all, no, I don't have any children. The only child I have is my dog, and I came here by myself with my dog from Wisconsin for a job. Second of all, as far as off leash, I was holding my dog. My dog only poops. Like I stated, he rides in a stroller because he has a bum leg, and I only take him out to pee. And I was right by the steps to go up the steps. And I didn't know the rule. I'm new, like I said, I was new to Anne Arundel County. I didn't know that there was a leash law, but my dog has a leash. If need be, if I ever come back to Anne Arundel County, I'm really close because I live in Bowie. So I don't live in Bowie, I work in Bowie State, but I'm close enough to where I will definitely have a leash. I do have a leash on him as well when he's in the stroller. As far as the police report, it should have been amended, because if you look at the police report, I never actually ever gave a police report, because I was transported by ambulance pretty much immediately, because they were worried about my in between my fingers. So I really didn't tell the police officer, Rachel, nothing pretty much. And when I saw the original police report, I was like, well, this is not right. I never said that. And sure, if you look at the body cam, you see I didn't give a police report. And so she amended. I don't know if you guys got the amended police report, because she had to really get my statement. The original one is not my statement. That is nothing that I said. And I'm sure you can look on the police report, excuse me, on the body cam. I never said anything of that magnitude. And far as the third dog, I saw a third dog when I was looking, trying to see, try to see if I can get up, because I could hear they're both dogs were on each side of me. That's why I scraped my other arm, because I can hear and feel that dog. And then I definitely heard this other dog on the other side of me, on my left side. But then when I peeped up, I could see a little dog and I saw a lady. But I definitely heard that man, that older gentleman saying, or it could have been Angel then, if that be the case, telling me to stay down. And then said, you can get up. That's how I got up, because it was the man standing there. And it was that older gentleman that you saw in that picture, that you guys had a picture of an older Caucasian man. I guess that's the guy that you guys that was in the truck. He was there. He was there. Because he was the one that told me to get up. And no, don't get up yet. Or it could have been Angel, I'm not sure. But and as far as the blood, I didn't even know the dogs were there. I knew nothing. I was just going past. So I don't know. I'm sort of feeling it, trying to figure out why she said that this blood was coming from her room. I'm a little puzzled by that. But maybe it could have been the blood of my blood from your dog's mouth. It could have been that, the droppings. But I thought, I'm a little insulted by that you would think that I would have anything involved with your hotel room. I'm a little cautious, and no, I don't have children. The only child I have a pup. I'm a fur mom, and his name is Max.
Okay.
That I love. That I love.
Thank you, Ms. Childress.
And she never communicated with me at all, as far as the vaccines and anything. And we had to wait till the quarantine, and then didn't take the dogs that day. And that puzzled me too. They did not take the dogs that day. It took about a week for them. I'm sorry, Autumn, I might be misquoting. When the dogs were actually placed in quarantine. So, I had to wait.
Yeah, Mr. So originally when Annapolis PD reported out to the incident on that day, I don't know what happened, but they reported the dog bites to Baltimore County Animal Control, and I'm not really sure why. But that following Monday when Ms. Childress contacted me, we had no evidence of it in our system, and that's when we had to pull and do all this other stuff. And as soon as we figured out that it happened in Anne Arundel County, we did the best that we could to get with Ms. Victor, let her know what happened and that the dogs needed to come here for quarantine. And then, it was decided that the orders would get issued. So, yes, it did take some time for us to get the dogs, but it was because Annapolis PD incorrectly reported to a different animal control outside of our county, and we couldn't do anything about it until we had it in our hands, which I apologize for, Ms. Childress. That's not your fault. It's not anything against you. But once we figured it out, we took it and did everything to make it right, so that way we could figure this all out.
Okay. All right, Jackie.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, I have two questions. The first one is, were the dogs rabies vaccinated at the time of this incident?
Yes, they were. Their rabies expired late April, and I had an appointment April 26th to have them redone through my work. We have a vaccine clinic once every 6 months, and they were due for all of their stuff, which I did relay to animal control as well, saying if you guys can give them their updated shots, please do so.
Okay, so Autumn, can you verify that for us?
So, that was communicated to us. I can't follow that up with physical documentation, like that they were vaccinated at all. It was just kind of by word of mouth. So they did the quarantine and then they ended up getting the rabies from us here. That did happen. But as far as physical documentation saying that it was expired at the end of April, that they were current on vaccinations, I don't have.
Okay, thank you. So my second question has to do with, we have in the course of all of this heard a mention of another incident that involved a Labrador. I'd like to hear
back
more
in
about that.
back in I believe she said it was 2014. I was
2019.
walking Winter.
Sorry.
Hold on. I apologize. Gotta find my phone charger. I was out walking Camo and Winter, and oh, there we go. And another couple was walking their Labrador, who started growling and barking at my two, and I pulled them off to the side of the road. The gentleman, again, his dog was still on leash. The gentleman kept coming towards us, saying that his dog was friendly, and even though his dog was barking and snarling. So I'm trying to pull Winter and Camo away, and yeah, that's it. And as in trying to pull them away, Winter's collar, she had just a plain, not, a regular collar on there, had broken off because she was trying to pull back while I was trying to pull my dogs away. And then the guy let the dog come up to Winter, and I tied Camo up to the fence that was right there. And then, yeah, his dog growled and Winter bit, and he bit Winter. But because I guess her leash broke, but she did not charge at him or anything of that nature. He kept walking over saying, "My dog's friendly, my dog's friendly."
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Ed?
Yeah, I just have some, excuse me, a quick question for Miss Childress. Were you holding Max at the time of the attack?
Yeah, I was about to pick him up because we were walking back. I was right next to him because we were about to go up the stairs.
That's
the incident,
okay.
Okay.
That's the picture I was trying to get in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we were about to go up the stairs because the incident happened right by the stairs.
Right. I'm just trying to replay this, in my head. And
I had a poop bag in my hand, and I was in the midst of, but as we were walking, these dogs came out before.
I got you.
And let me just say this too, far as, well, I'm gonna let it go. Far as my dog doesn't bark like that. My dog wasn't bothered. We were just minding our business. He wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary, just taking a poop, excuse me, relieving himself. And that was it. And we go back in.
When you were taken away in an ambulance, you said?
Yes.
Did Max go with you?
Yes, he did. He was
Okay.
with me. And he was at the hospital. They had and then after they finished me, we went to Anne Arundel. I think that's the emergency vet.
Okay.
And that's where they saw a few puncture wounds.
Okay.
But that was the major one. They
I
flushed.
just wanted to play that movie in my head a little bit. So
yes, he was there with me.
okay. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for either party? I mean, at this point, I feel like we've heard a lot of evidence. And essentially we're looking at, basically the entire order here. I mean, we're basically, she's disputing both orders in total. So it's not like we're going point by point through the orders here. Does anyone have any questions or anything else before we close for deliberations?
And I apologize if we're going over ground we've already discussed, but I'm having a hard time determining which of these two dogs caused the bite that we saw the pictures of on the hand.
Can I say both dogs were attacking me, but one was a little more aggressive that was on my left side. The other one there, because I hear both of them, and they both were trying to, I think they were trying to get at my dog, but I was trying to confine Max inside of me. I think he was scared. And that's why I have so much scrape marks on this arm, because that dog was trying, I can hear him and hear them and feel them coming. So they were both, but whoever was on this side, because it was two and not one, this one was a little more aggressive because he bit me.
Can you identify that one?
Sir, remember, I had my head down trying to cover my dog, but I saw
Me-
two dogs come out, but they were both looked same color to me. You know, they were
Okay,
very
that was the next question I was gonna ask you. If, you could give a color of the dog or height
two big
or,
blackish, short hair, dog, and they go out like it just.
okay.
I
Okay,
just
thank
visually
you.
can't remember but both, it was two, because I hear them. They're attacking us. I can hear them and feel them.
Okay. Anybody else? Because I think, again, I feel like we're starting to kind of go down the same path. So with nothing else, I think we're just going to close for deliberations at this point.
Did you guys get to see all the videos, all the like everything?
So we have, I don't know how much everything. I mean, you mentioned quite a bit. We have a file that has a lot of your evidence put in it. I've reviewed it. Jackie.
Sorry. Miss Victor, we've heard of 3 different incidences where your dogs have been out and have had altercations with other dogs. We're not in a position at the moment to be able to go back and see what exactly happened. My question is, if the dogs are returned to you, how will you prevent these kinds of incidences in the future?
Thank you for asking that. We have an opportunity to go live in the country, away from people, away from everything. I even provided pictures of those. Even though Winter was named not at fault from the last thing, I still took extra things that I was never ordered to do because I took it seriously. Both my dogs are walked with prong collars and a harness. I do believe that having a gate in front of my door is a good idea. I'm more than willing to do that. We have had fenced in yards before. I don't let my dogs go in fenced in yards. I've seen too many things go wrong with that. From where I work, I don't trust them exactly. So my dogs are never walked without a harness and a collar on. Yeah, there's no other dogs at the farm. It's a separate house. It has a deck that is completely closed off. And again, I'm more than willing to put a gate in front of the only door that I do have. I can tell you one thing.
Is this farm in Anne Arundel County?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I can tell you one thing, my dogs will never be at a hotel ever again.
Is there just one residence on the farm?
Yes.
Or are there multiple houses on the farm?
So there's 2 houses on the farm. There would be my landlord's house, and then a separate single family house on the other side of the farm. She does not have any dogs.
Okay.
The house that is on the farm, I actually lived in about 10 years ago, and Winter is 12, she'll be 13 in August. She has a mast cell. I provided that paperwork to you guys as well. She had a surgery to have it excised, but she has a lump on her leg that I need to get figured out. They think it might be returning. 4 years ago, I made a promise, because as Ms. Childress
Can I
mentioned,
interject real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
I feel like we're starting to get way off tangent now based on what we're seeing here.
I agree. I think we need to stick to why we are here, which is these dangerous orders. I understand that the healthier dog has some bearing on those orders. And this is what I was trying to get at before, if there's issues there. But essentially, you know, the main reason we are here is to discuss the dangerous orders. And at this point, I think that we've heard enough evidence. I've seen enough evidence. You have supporting evidence from work and from people that know your dog and things like that. And that's fine. We can take all that into consideration. But we also have someone who is severely injured. And you know, so we have to weigh these things, and we have to look at what's going on and see if these orders are appropriate. So unless you can give us new evidence or something new that's going to describe this specific situation, then I think that we've heard pretty much everything that we're going to hear that's appropriate here. We can't prolong.
Okay.
So
the fact that my story has not once changed from what happened. First, it was 3 dogs, then it was 2 dogs, and I provided an affidavit from her personal attorney because she's also coming after me with that. She only mentioned Camo, not Winter.
Okay, again,
and it no that's
here today. She's mentioned both that there were 2 dogs. Okay, and
right.
we are here for 2 dogs, and this is what we're
Right.
dealing with. We're here today. Okay.
Okay.
So I you know, unless someone else has, if I'm missing anything from Ms. Childers, hold just one second, please. I mean, other commissioners, we've heard a lot of these cases. Am I missing something? Or is there questions that we're not, you know, I'm trying to get to the point where we're getting evidence that, you know, is actually going to give us some concrete answers here. And I feel like we've all asked questions and we kind of see the picture here. I think, you know, and am I wrong in asking for anything different here? Am I not hearing anything different?
No, I agree with you, Tom. I think we've heard a fair amount of evidence here.
I want to say,
from
because
both Ms. Childress and Ms.
let me just
Victor
say this. Can I don't mean to cut
that-
you off, sir. See, I'm now you're insulting my character. I said 3. Yes, I
We're
did
not-
say 3 dogs because there was a little dog, which I
Again,
stated.
this has no,
Yes.
no bearing on the
Okay.
order today, ma'am.
But she just said that I like my story changed. My story has
I
never changed.
I understand.
Okay, I'm sorry,
We-
Tom. Go
No,
ahead.
we understand. We understand. It's all
Okay.
very emotional between both of you guys. This is a very emotional situation. We understand. And I think that we've all heard enough of the personal stuff back and forth. Again, we're here about dogs. Okay? We're here about dogs. So let's make sure we get this right here, guys. Let's have a discussion. I think we're going to close for deliberations and have some discussion as to what we think is going on here. All right, so I'd like to start. We'll start with Jackie.
Ooh, what is standing out for me right now is in all 3 incidents, Ms. Victor seems to not be willing to take any responsibility for the actions of her dogs. Granted, 2 of them were interactions with other dogs on leash. But I'm very concerned about her lack of ability to take responsibility and accept the possibility of her dog's actions. And as she was talking about how to prevent in the future, moving to the country to a farm is not an answer. Taking precautions are, and she did talk a little bit about that, but I didn't hear her say that she would be willing to provide all of the requirements that that the law would institute for having the dogs at home.
Okay. Any more? I mean, again, we can all jump in here. That we'll move on to Jennifer.
I echo some of Jackie's concerns because, you know, I do think coincidences and accidents happen. But I think by the time we get to the 3rd complaint, there might be some fire with the smoke that we're seeing. And it does concern me that Miss Victor doesn't seem to want to take responsibility for any of that. I'll be honest, right from the beginning, I guess my biggest concern was I didn't want to punish one of the dog, and because it all comes down to dogs for me, and issuing a dangerous order, you know, It protects the public, but it also potentially hurts the dogs in the future. I was trying to decide which one of these dogs were at fault, but it seems to me that these two dogs together sort of have like a pack mentality, and as long as they're going to remain together, I think at the end of the day, I'm not sure I care which one of them actually caused the bite to Miss Children's hand, because I think they were both responsible. They both feed into each other and egg each other on, and they both pose a danger to the public in general. So I would be inclined to uphold the dangerous order with all of the normal, typical conditions that we would impose on a dangerous order.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Lieutenant Tillman?
Yeah, I agree that we uphold, whether it's one instance or several instances. This is a pretty severe instance that this incident alone would suffice. So I agree with the panel.
Okay. Nicole?
So reviewing the dangerous order, she mentions that she's moving to a farm, that she'll be renting a house. Part of the conditions of the dangerous order is to erect the fence, and I didn't hear any mention of whether that would be a possibility or whether, that her landlord would allow that, or she has funds to do that. But regardless, that's one of the stipulations for the dangerous order. And I think I agree. Ms. Childress had some terrible injuries, and she's very lucky that Max came out of it. He's obviously scarred, and it's going to take him some time to get through it, but he's still alive, unlike the other dog. Whether Winter was at fault for the death of that second dog because that dog was off leash. Regardless, it seems as though there is a pattern here, and I would vote to uphold.
Thank you, Nicole. Ed?
Thank you, Tom. I was kind of surprised that someone in Miss Victor's position have left their animals unlicensed, but that's not an issue today. I was just kind of shocked that seems a little irresponsible. And the main thing here is that this commission is for public safety. That's kind of number one, and that's what we do. And I think Miss Childress's injury, and I'm very, very sorry about that. I'm sorry about the puncture wound to Max. I'm sure everything was very traumatic, and that hopefully in time it will pass, but the scar will remain. We need to uphold public safety, and to do that, it's already kind of been issued, the dangerous order. So I'm in favor of upholding that dangerous order. I still have questions in my head about how those dogs got out of the apartment or hotel door or whatever it was, but that's not the case here. That's not really important. The important part is that they did get out. They did cause harm to Miss Childress and her pet Max, and I would agree to uphold the dangerous order.
Thank you, Ed. Dr. Hemmer?
Yeah, I don't hear anything here that's going to give me any pause to want to modify or drop the dangerous order. I think you did a good job giving both parties probably more than ample time to state their case. But as on evaluating all the evidence, I hear nothing that's going to make me change or modify the dangerous order as written. So I agree with the rest of my fellow commissioners to uphold the order as written.
Thank you, Dr. Hemmer. And yeah, I tend to want to speed things through a little bit. There was a lot of emotion involved in this case. I wanted to make sure that there was every opportunity given to discuss the order specifically if need be. I don't think that ever kind of came to fruition. I believe that, some of the evidence that was tried to brought forward, if there was any evidence of a third dog that I could see anything tangible other than maybe a comment that was given at the time, someone in duress. You know, that's not here nor there. The fact that blood, you know, she saw blood near her door leads me to believe that those dogs, one of those dogs, you know, could have brought that blood to her door, not the other way around. So again, you know, the past incidents or instances, while they have some weight, I think this instance in and of itself, a dangerous order would keep things like this from happening. I mean, again, moving to a farm, you know, Amazon delivery driver comes to your farm just as easily as, you know, anybody, you know, so there's all these things you have to worry about, dogs running out. So again, I agree with everybody. So I'll take a motion, from the group.
I'll make a motion to uphold the dangerous order.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Okay,
Got it.
you got all that, Autumn?
Yes, Tom, I did. Sorry,
Okay.
multitasking here. And that
Yeah.
is last case.
Okay. Well, again,
Right.
so, you know, I like to move things along as much as I can, guys, but you know, as much emotion, as much we saw there, it's kind of tough. So go ahead,
I
Jack.
think you did a good job, Tom. You got to give them an opportunity, like Ed's always done. You got to give them an opportunity that they feel like they've had an opportunity to express as best as they can their side of the story, and I think you did a good job with that. This was a tough one today.
Yep, Jackie.
So for Autumn, what are the next steps for the dogs and Miss Victor?
So, after commission is done, I will send up the chain of command to the chief of police, basically saying what happened here today, the commission's recommendation. I will wait for them to concur back. And then, our acting administrator will sign off saying that the orders are remaining. She does have the right to appeal it to the Board of Appeals, but the dogs will remain here with us until that happens, or she chooses to surrender the dogs, but they will remain here with us until either she complies or appeals or surrenders.
Okay.
And so how much time does she have to comply? She's currently living in a hotel essentially, but moving eventually.
So typically they do have like a certain period of time. I do know that our public safety office, if they can show in good faith and, you know, that they are actively doing these things, like say she were to get an apartment that would allow her to do all of the things, build a fence, stuff like that. And they gave us time, you know, we try to work with it to an extent, but, she does have 30 days from the day that the chief of police concurs, to appeal it to the Board of Appeals. So in those 30 days, she could be actively trying to do something and then appeal it, you know? So right now we're kind of at a standstill of what could happen.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's ask a quick, like, I'm sort of related to this case, but I just had a question. I saw a note in the file in the police report that animal control refused to come to the scene. That it was noted. Okay, that's because it was Baltimore County that was notified, right?
So after like further investigation and talking with the Annapolis officers, they reported to Baltimore, and Baltimore said, "Oh, just put them on a 10-day quarantine." I got with our dispatch. Yeah, I got with our dispatch, everything. We pulled everything because if it would have been reported to us, we would have seen the history, all that stuff. And I mean, even without the history, we would have gone out there. So as soon as it came to us, I was the person notified here that Monday following. And I did everything I could to work with Officer Herbert to make it right.
Okay, just curious.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Has anything been addressed with Anne Arundel County Police regarding that instance and being sure that their officers are aware of proper protocol?
Well, so that's Tenant can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Annapolis is their own entity. Like they have their own police department, kind of similar how the fire department is. But I mean, we addressed it. It was a horrific mistake, but it was addressed. Everyone was educated and it was made right. So it's not something that often happens. I just think it was a one-off. because I've never seen something like that happen. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it does seem strange how they would get a hold of
Yeah.
Baltimore County. That just seems
Yeah.
kind of completely strange. But
We addressed it, you know, they were apologetic. It was Annapolis, Police Department, and it hasn't happened before or again. So I'm gonna hope that it stays that way.
Yeah, I'm just glad that nothing else occurred during the lag time. Thank you.
so I guess we should hand it over to Ed here. I see Ed. I guess that's Ed's hand up. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So how much longer do we have you, Ed?
I think this is it. Unfortunately, I was held over. And I think if I'm not mistaken, it's been almost 5 years. And my term was actually up, after the second 2-year term. But Robin held me on for a while because of the vacancies in the office and the uproar in the losing Phil and all that kind of stuff. But the time has come for me to end. I'm not thrilled about it, but hey, I've had a very, very good time. Our officers are fantastic. They are fantastic people in rough situations. Our volunteers, what can you say? They're angels. So, I don't like leaving, but we have to find another chairman. So, we have a good group here. People from all walks of life come together and make these things work, make it happen. And very little mistakes are made by this particular group, I must say. So I'm going to recuse myself, obviously, from voting for any chairman, but I need a motion, I guess, or we need a motion to name the next chairman that will replace me at the July meeting. Go ahead, Jackie.
I would like to nominate Jennifer for our new chair, please.
Yeah, I would second that nomination. I was going to do the same. Jennifer,
heard
you've
that
got
one.
a lot of experience and other than myself, and I guess Dr. Hemmer's previous tenure, you've had the longest tenure here, and your legal background definitely helps move these cases along. So I would definitely second that.
Yeah, I think I don't know if everyone was involved in the conversation. I know I heard Tom. I don't believe Officer Tillman was here, but I believe Tom and I shared the same feeling that as the veterinarian, Tom from the health department, and Officer Tillman from the police department, we're providing the professional cornerstone for the commission, and that leadership really should come from the citizen base. I think that was the whole premise of the commission, in that my position, Officer Tillman, and Tom's position are just supportive more than anything else, to help the commission in their tasks. So I don't want to speak for Officer Tillman or Tom, but I believe that that's our feeling, and that's why it's got to come from the other four, are my thoughts.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. I've filled in the past for many months, and I don't mind doing it if it comes down to it. But in reality is, we have Greg Fuentes here sometimes from the health department. If I happen to hit the lottery today and I'm out of here, then it's somebody from the health department will be represented. So it doesn't make sense. And I'm sure Lieutenant Tillman, Dr. Tillman, I almost called you Dr. Tillman, would feel the same way.
Both lieutenant and the doctor concur. And I apologize for getting on a little bit later this morning. That was a mix up on my part, but apologize for that.
Well, Ed, also, before we come to this vote, you've done a great job over the years, and it's been good to work with you. So I don't know if you have any plans moving forward here. You just kind of keep with, I know you were up on all the bills and stuff that were up, so I hope you keep fighting the good fight there and getting the word out in the county. And but yeah, you've done a great job. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Ed. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you. I'm on the board of elections, and I'm doing that work as well. And I'm the chairman of the canvassers committee. So if any of you want to volunteer to canvass like Jackie did, maybe I'll see you, or maybe I'll see you at the polls, or maybe I'll see you in the future if I get the call again. I think I got to take a 2-year recess before they can even consider, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll be pulling up in my wheelchair next time.
So does that mean, Ed, that you will not be able to serve on the commission?
On this commission, I think I have to take a 2-year recess before I'm even considered again. I think that's the rules. I don't have them memorized, but I do remember reading them at first. And you serve 2 years, and then you can get another extension for 2 years, which I did. And then Robin had to step in, and she did some kind of finagling when we lost Phil, and the office was kind of in a little upheaval there, and asked me to stay on for another year. And that year is up here in June, unfortunately. So
Well,
yes,
thank you for your service.
it's hard for me to even talk about it, but
I'll
I
see
love
you
it.
at elections.
Yeah, I love the work. I love the people. I love the animals. So thank you. Do I hear a second on Jennifer?
Yeah, I got the second, so we're ready for a vote.
Can I just let you guys,
Well, hold on. Well,
just
Jennifer,
real-
do you
Does she
want the
accept?
job?
I forgot to ask. Do you accept?
yeah, just to make sure you guys know that I wouldn't be able to serve a full year because I'm now starting my 4th year, and if you're limited to 2 2-year terms, then I think my term expires in April of next year, so I wouldn't be able to serve a full year.
Maybe they
I'm
can do
okay with
another
that
good
because
extension.
Well, either way, I'd be okay with it. I think it gives the rest of the community time to, or to kind of gain more experience and kind of work together. I know Jackie, you've been involved with it. I don't know your first meeting here, Jackie. I don't know if had you been involved with the commission prior, like many years ago?
Oh, many, many, many years ago, like in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Greg Fuentes said, I think he attended that meeting and had explained it to me, but I wasn't sure. So, okay. Well, I mean, so again, I mean, it kind of, you've had a couple, about 6-8 months now with us.
Yeah, I've only been with you all for less than a year, so
Yeah.
I'm not ready to step into a position like that.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think it would be a good, even if it's till April, it gives us time to, adjust through a lot of the significant changes that we have been experiencing here, along with the commission. And I just would really like to do it the right way, so that way nothing gets, obscured. So, right now and you accept, I think that would be great. So that way it gives myself some time to do what I have to do, in the event that there is no extension or anything like that.
Autumn, has Councilwoman, my councilwoman, I can't think of her name, Miss Robian, has she been alerted? She'll have to find somebody within the district to also join the commission.
So that's
do
my
that.
next step. I've been trying to figure out how to do that. So I might actually reach out to you later on to see if you don't mind helping me through that process.
I don't at all. I know Miss Robian well, even though I forgot her name right there. But I can contact her right after the meeting and let her know.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
No
But
problem.
Jennifer, are you okay to serve in that commission, in that capacity until April?
Yes, I can do that.
Awesome.
Cross
Awesome.
that
So we have
bridge
a
when
vote in a
we
second.
come to it.
So all in favor, we have a vote in a second. So all in favor, Jennifer, congratulations.
I guess I do it for myself. I don't know.
Nice.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess I'll finish, at least until after April anyway. We need to vote on last month's minutes. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from last month?
Yes.
That was the one and only meeting I've ever missed.
Okay, so if everyone's looked at them, is everyone okay with the minutes? Do I got a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right, all in favor? And then we need a
Who
motion to, I'm sorry,
Who
go ahead.
seconded it? I'm sorry, who seconded?
Hammer.
Hammer.
Okay,
And
thank
actually, before we adjourn, I do want to make sure all commission members are aware, Robin Catlett, as I understand, is no longer in charge of the animal care and control. So I don't know what the plan is with that position, but I don't know if everyone's aware of that.
No.
Position has been advertised. I've seen it advertised.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's appropriate for us as commission
Yes.
members to comment on any of that, but
No,
you
I
know,
just wanted to make sure everyone was at least
we're
aware.
gonna miss
No,
her,
they-
but I've seen the position advertised.
Okay,
So I think they are looking to fill it.
right, correct. I just want to make sure everyone at least was aware. I don't really need to comment any further, but
Autumn, you did a great job filling in. I can say that.
Agreed.
I
all right, guys.
appreciate that.
Well, a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn the June commission.
Second.
Second.
All right. See you guys in August. Actually, I won't. I think Greg will be here in August. So Greg will see you in August.
Right.
Good
All right,
night.
great. Congratulations, Jennifer.
July. Thank you.
Thank you,
Take care.
Jennifer.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.